Okay, we're live. All right, guys, if you're just joining in, it has been about a week or so since I've done a live stream from the store. This is my buddy, Bill Schroeder.
What's up?
This is little Bill. Of course, his dad is Bill Schroeder, and then his grandpa is the famous, legendary Bill Schroeder. Great guy. One of my idols. I know it's still Little Bill, one of Little Bill's idols, but Little Bill is a master of offshore fishing, specifically ledge fishing. Also, I can't see who's joining the video for some reason, so that's always nice. Go ahead and leave a comment, thumbs up in here, so I can see any comments. That way we can answer questions. So tonight we're going to talk about new products. We're going to talk about the scrounger head. I got a lot of things to say about that because I did talk to Jason Lambert on the phone this week. We're going to talk about how to fish a jig out deep, because this guy's one of the best I know at it. We're just going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. There we go. We got a comment in. Mark Van Meter, nice to see you. And got lots of cool stuff I just put up on TackleFreaks.com today. And so we're going to start off with some new baits. Bill, you're always free to add your commentary. You don't have to be quiet. Cool. Anything you want to talk about, guys, we will. We will definitely talk jigs. If it's your weakness, listen to this guy. Keep it simple. And yeah, man, thanks guys for joining. Again, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button. And if you can't catch the whole thing, I'm going to upload the video probably tonight up on YouTube. So let's start off, before getting any more new products, let's start off with this bait right here. Bill, have you thrown this bait before? Tell us your experience on the Jerky J. This just won $100,000 on Kentucky Lake again.
Yeah, obviously nobody's as good at fishing it as Jason Lambert.
No.
I don't know how much money that guy's won on that thing, but it's a bunch. But it'll catch them. I mean, I saw Zach Parker put a freaking clinic on with that thing one year, and it's probably been 5 years ago in a Triton. So, I mean, it don't look all that good, but that sucker catches them.
Right, so this is just, it's kind of almost like a do-nothing worm. It's just a swim bait with a long tail. And you can't really throw this on a weighted swim bait hook. It's really the only good use for it is on the back of a scrounger head. This color's bluegill, and it's the only color we have left, but I got more coming Monday. Now, basically, Jason throws it on. This is your basic scrounger head. This is the Jinko Tennessee trimmer head. So I'm going to take this out of the package real quick just to show you the basics. I did a show on this stuff this fall. So that's your basic scrounger head. That's just a 1/2 ounce one. If I was going to use the 1/2 ounce, I'm not going to use a really big bait. Maybe even a 3/4. So this is the 5-inch Jerky J, and that's the IU color. So you can tell there's a big difference in the size of these baits. So that little 1/2 ounce head, we'll show you how to put it on. Very simple. Just slide it right through the head. And this has got a little groove back here. You get it right through the middle. And you just slide this bad dude up there. Straighten her out. Get a little super glue and it ain't coming off. So that's just the standard 5-inch Jerky J on a scrounger head. So the question is, what is Jason Lambert doing that we're not? So I talked to him on the phone. Pro tip. This comes right from Jason. Scrounger heads are just like crankbaits. Every one of them he uses, he throws in the swimming pool to make sure it runs right. The whole key is this bill. You're going to get some that just don't swim perfect. So what he does, every time he buys a pack or gets a couple dozen, whether they're homemade, and he did say they are homemade, he marks the bill. If it swims good, he marks it with a Sharpie. It goes in his box. If it doesn't run, he throws it away. Unfortunately, you're going to buy several that don't run. But the closest to what Jason has been throwing is the Hog Farmer Hog Wobbler. So when you buy these, it comes with the bill separate, so you can tune them. And this one's 3/4 ounce. The Hog Wobbler has this keeper right here. So to put this bill on the bait. You just wet it and flip it upside down, and you push it right over the top of that head. So now it's upside down, and you just spin this bad dude, and then you pull this piece of plastic forward. So if it's running right or left, you can tune this up, and he puts snaps in here for your hog wobbler. The cool thing is the keeper. Now this bill isn't as long as some of the others, but it is thin. And from what Jason's told me and some other guys, the thinner bill is actually better for fishing it slow, whereas a thicker bill is better if you want to burn it. Something that Bill told me, his buddy Zach, he caught it burning and stopping it, correct?
Yeah, he would just reel it as fast as he could, 6 or 7 turns, and then kill it. And I'm telling y'all, he caught like 24 pounds in like 10 minutes on it.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Correct. Now, let me answer this question quick. Hey, how are you? I'll be at the Hobie Bass Open. How far is your shot from Kentucky Dam? You can almost see Kentucky Dam from the shop. And I'll see you next week. But, so that's the hog wobbler. This one's got a really good sharp hook. It's got the keeper. Now, there is another one, and it just come out. And I literally just got them on the website, come in the store today. This is from Picasso Lures. This is the Sujin. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm a redneck and there ain't no way I can pronounce this word right. So it's a Sujin for right now. But this is been designed by Aaron Martins, who is the original scrounger guy. So everybody talks about Jason Lambert, and he's definitely figured it out. But before guys were throwing these big, heavy scroungers, Aaron Martins was using, 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce scroungers around bridge pilings. I think he fished in the classic one year, is that right? And I have some original ones. They were awesome, but the bills are a totally different material. This material this bill's made of was researched and developed. Took 2 years for Aaron to get this right. And if you've ever met Aaron Martins, and I have, he's a really funny dude. But he's like,
he's a perfectionist.
He is a perfectionist, and he is out there. But I think he is definitely a bait man. But that's what makes him good at what he does. He puts so much time and research and everything to make sure it's perfect. And so what they've come up with is this Sujin. Now, it doesn't have the fancy hook keeper like the Hog Farmer, but the way this lead is tapered onto the shank of this, it allows your bait to suck up to there. It's got this little concave place so the nose of the bait goes in, but you've got a snap built on. But this bill, it's a special material and designed to really make this thing do what it's supposed to. So there's several different bill types. The ones we carry right now are like the J bill, which is made for big bait. So Picasso and Aaron have come up with the exact science of how thick this bill needs to be for how heavy and long those baits are. But so I'll show you what one of my favorite scrounger type baits on here is. And if you hadn't seen this before, this is the Scottsboro Tackle STC Sniper Shad. And if you look at this color is called Bass Whacker Shad versus a Jerky J. It is actually smaller, but it's a little bit more thicker. So you can take this and bend the bill back here. And you can tell on this Sujin, the bill's a little bit more stouter and it pops back in place really easy. I just thread this thing up here, start sliding this right up to the nose. Oh man, that's about perfect right there. So you see with that concave head, it doesn't make the bait look crazy squished up on there, and that is the Scottsboro Tackle STC Sniper Shad with that Picasso Sujin. And got a big stock. Those are on TackleFreaks.com right now. Just put them up there. Great tip, Chris. You can boil the bills and it will help with baits that don't run. This will definitely catch the janks, JoJo. So that's just a little rundown. Another thing that Jason told me, he does not do anything crazy with his retrieve. And a lot of times guys get these baits and they think it should be like doing this crazy number right here. He said, for the most part, it's just going to slowly wobble. And that slow wobble is what catches a lot of fish. And it keeps a steady retrieve, 6-to-1 reel, 7-11 heavy rod. He said it's really like dragging a turd through the water. He said a lot of guys that fish chatterbaits think you're going to feel pump, 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 and you won't. Yes, that's Sujin. I feel like you don't have to glue that. The way that plastic is, man, it holds that bait pretty good.
Looks good.
It does look good.
Can I have it?
Yeah, you can have it.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to charge you. But we just load those on TackleFreaks.com, and we'll really go more in depth on that as well another night. But they're on there, and hey, the cool thing also, you get 2 bills. So you're getting 2 heads for $7.99 plus 2 extra bills. They actually have a little bit thicker plastic, so you can really get in tune with your scrounger game. Jeff, great question. Jason does use a long bill on his scroungers, and man, I was trying to get Jason on the show.
Sorry, you had to settle for me.
Yeah, so I settled for Bill, but he's wrapped up with MLF. He big time me. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't big time me. He just got MLF going on. But let's talk about some other new products, Bill. Just find something new. What we got up here?
So I've never seen that. So
Bill has never seen this. This is the 6 cent splashback. This is a good color. It's called Black Magic. Keep this away from some of them Marshall County girls. So that is a really unique topwater from 6 cents. It's kind of it looks like a wedge with a mouth. Kind of got that old P70 style mouth. But this color's sick. That would definitely be a great evening bait. That's Black Magic. I've thrown this before. I think I even threw it in Bill's pond. He just don't know about it. And it walks really good and it spits awesome. But they make it in a smaller size as well. That is on our website. I love that Black Magic color. All right, grab me something else. That 6 cents crankbait right there.
This one?
Yeah, the big dog. So now I've loaded up on the website. Just came in. Another part of Jason Lambert's game was this guy right here. This is the big Cloud 25 deep crank. This is a big dredging crankbait for ledge fishing. Also have the Cloud 20 and 15. Brad, I do carry the Pocket Rocket. It is on our website. And 6 cents got some awesome paint jobs. That one's a lavender citrus. Y'all know me, I like some purple, but that's just a really good shad pattern.
Yeah, looks good.
Really good one. The 25 goes 25 feet, the 20 goes to 22, 23, and the 15 to get down there to 19, 20 foot. What's Bill doing there? Does he own any other baits beside the jig?
Yeah, I just have to keep up appearances so people think I'm throwing something else.
Bill's only on here to keep up with. He's got X amount of sponsor appearances, and so this counts.
That's right. No sponsor.
And to promote his business. What's your business?
Rainbow International.
Rainbow International. So if you got floors that are messed up, get hooked up with Bill. He'll get them clean. All right, what else we got new? Oh, we got, I was going to show y'all this color from 6 cents. This is called Saab's Juice, which I have no clue who Saab is.
But I do. It's the juice.
But apparently this is the juice. And that is, that's kind of like a citrus with some magic scale on it. Kind of a turquoise. Ooh, pretty sick right here. Got some carp eyes on this thing. That might be a good deal, but that's the Cloud 20, so it's quite a bit smaller than the 25, but still a big old ledge plug. When am I getting more man bears? Good question. I have tried getting more man bear pigs for a month now, and I'm only getting a few colors at a time. That's just a really popular bait right now. You know, I try to get stuff in the newest, latest, greatest as quick as they'll send it, and some of the stuff's just not real quick. I'll mess with this later. Okay, so this is new from Mega Bass, guys. This is pretty exclusive. No one else has these online right now. This is the new Sonic Side Flat Side Crankbait, and it's got damn good hooks because I've already hooked the box. So that's kind of like the S crank, but they have cut it in half. It has the old school balsa feel to it, and that colors that. That is chartreuse dust, so very close to that spring crawl, you know, spro. It's copper, imitate a perch, imitate a crawfish, whatever. But it's got weight transfer in it, but it's silent. Very good hooks on this thing. computer bill. If you're a square bill guy, flat side guy, you know, Wesley Strader just wants some money on a balsa plug here on Kentucky Lake. Got to look into that. Those are brand new. This is the only place that's online right now. They literally just come out. They're not even on Tackle Warehouse. So that is the new Sonic side. I love that. I'm probably going to buy one of these.
You got to buy at least 3.
Got to buy. No, it's too much.
It comes in 3s.
It comes in 3s. All right. Now I've got a new wake bait. It's not really new, but a lot of guys have been asking. Do you recommend using the clips on the swim bait and the big crank? I don't use any clips on the swim bait, but like on the trimmer shads and stuff, yes. Yeah. This is the Mega Bass Eye Loud, so this is a wake bait. This is a special color called White Python. Didn't put these online, but they'll be up there tomorrow. It's very loud. It's got this prop on the back that spits water, and this thing wakes back and forth. It is jointed, very deadly on a dead slow movement. So if you're guys that fish a lot of shallow water, post spawn bass, this thing right here, this Eye Loud, will catch you some fish. Heck yeah, Ron, we will definitely get together. We're going to try to put together a kayak night next Wednesday here at the store. More details on that. I wish 6 Cents wouldn't have changed their custom bluegill color. That was a good color. Let's see. Stock hooks on 6 Cents are awesome because they use triple grips for the most part. All right, what else we got new? Oh, we got some new swim baits. We got some new big swim baits. Bust one of those open, Bill. This right here.
There you go. How about that?
This is the Osprey Tournament Talon top hook. So this is the swim bait you see Matt Allen and Tim Little talk about all the time on Tactical Bassing. Pre-rigged, it's already weighted in the head. These come straight out from California. There's not many people on the East Coast that sell these things. This is the 6-inch model, and this is designed, if you go through a school of 3-pounders, you throw this at them, and if there's a 5, a 6, or a 7, this is what they eat. I'm not going to call anybody's name out, David Genevico, but this bait is really proven on this lake, but not a whole lot of guys know about it. Now, there's also a 7-inch version, and Bill's fighting with the package here. So this is the 7-inch version of the same bait. You're not going to be throwing these baits on your old 7.6 heavy action rod. You're going to have to get up to the 8-foot swim bait rod to throw these things out. Like Brent Anderson's Redemption 8-foot rod would be perfect for these right here. And I know Brent's throwing this Osprey a little bit.
Meant to be fished on the bottom.
Yes, these are meant to be fished on the bottom. Is that plastic similar to the STC swim baits? No, it's a little bit tougher. Very soft though. The action's all on the tail. And I'll tell guys all the time, make sure you get some mended if you're going to throw these big swim baits, because they will rip a fin, or sometimes they'll rip the tail off, but mended will take care of these. Yes, Chad, I am going to get some 6XDs and apple shad. Got a couple new colors coming out this week as well. But that's the 7-inch Osprey Tournament Town. They actually call that color reverse hitch. On Kentucky Lake, I call that the juice.
And it'll get down there with them.
And it will get down there, but you cannot overfish these baits. You have to fish them slow. Almost drag them on the bottom sometimes. Now, if you want to fish for some suspended fish, some shallower fish, maybe you're not around a lot of heavy cover, open water, that's where the Osprey heavy inline comes in. So this is pre-weighted. This bait weighs 2 ounces almost, and you'll see there's a treble hook already on the bottom. So you run your line through the nose of this bait, and it comes out. There's a little hole right here, and then you tie it to this treble hook, and then you can tuck the hook in the back of the bait like so. So when they eat this thing, they grab the hook, the bait goes up your line, and you don't tear up your bait. So what some guys do is, this is actually a little tin keeper in here. They'll shove like a ½ ounce or 3/4 ounce Carolina rig barrel weight in there, tungsten, to get their line to come through that, so it gives it a little bit more weight. What you can also do, and I've been told from some really good swim bait fishermen, you can add, take your tungsten nail weights, and you can nail weight the backs of these things and it give it a little bit more slow fall like that right there. But you don't want to do it right up here in the back near the tail, or to jack that action up. You really want to do it right there above that. But that is the Osprey heavy inline. That is a badass bait right there. You don't see these around here very often. There's not a lot of places that sell them online, but I got lucky, and I thank you very much, Tim Little, for getting me a contact to get these things right here, because
David's gonna be mad at you.
David is going to be mad at me. But I'm going to get that Humminbird DVD or Humminbird YouTube video done, and it'll be okay.
Okay.
He's going to get lots of play off that.
That's good.
I'll put his waypoints on that too. What else?
You still got them?
I still got the waypoints. They actually, funny thing is, me and David Genevico shot was going to be on a DVD to set up Humminbird units, but it was a tough day. We still caught some fish, and we caught it a day at like 2 o'clock. And he said, well, I'm going to go find some fish for this tournament. For the next day, it has like 26 pounds. He's like, yeah, dude, you should stay with me. I found some mega schools. Always works like that.
Especially with David.
But I do have David's drop shot. David on a drop shot.
I didn't even know he owned a drop shot.
He told me that everybody thinks he's been catching them on these big worms.
On these big swim baits.
Really, in big swim baits, it's really a drop shot worm. You'll see.
That's good.
All right, so let's talk ledge fishing. So I'm old school. Bill grew up fishing the ledges on Kentucky Lake, literally. Bill, let's talk about ledge fishing. If you've never gone ledge fishing before, what is the first thing, or offshore fishing, because not everything's really a ledge.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, offshore fishing for a lot of guys, and y'all probably don't know this, but I've actually guided a couple of people offshore, and if they don't know they don't understand that your boat's sitting in 25, but up there where you're throwing is 15 or 10, you know. Because I mean, actually, I actually had a guy with me one time, and he switched from a 6XD to a 10XD and caught like a 6-pounder behind me. And I was like, dude, why did you switch? And he was like, well, the first place we stopped, you were sitting in 25, and then here you're sitting in 20. And I was like, yeah, but both places it's 10 right up there where you're throwing.
Right.
He just didn't know. So I mean, obviously it can mess with some guys' head. I grew up doing it, so I was blessed and fortunate enough. But when I started doing it, I was lining up that buoy with that tree up there,
right.
And that game's over. I mean, as long as you got a waypoint, you can line up whatever and get on the juice. And obviously, electronics are so good, you can see them. So, I mean, it's just a different game, though.
Right, yeah. So, like, when I learned to ledge fish, was like with the X15 Lowrance, which at the time was awesome because it had a map on it. But you only had a map. There was no side or down image. And how I learned is, man, you line up this tree with this window, and then you look across and you triangulate.
Yep.
Even though you had GPS, it was easy to get a waypoint, but you still had to make the same cast after cast. And you know what I always look for, and if you don't know, not everything you fish out deep is a ledge. And, you know, I think a lot of guys make the common mistake, especially out here, that they're looking for the sharpest, deepest break there is. And some of the stuff,
it could be a foot.
It could be a foot.
Yeah, or 6 inches even.
I think really the best term is offshore structure fishing, because most of the time you're fishing something on the bottom, whether it's a rock pile, a brush, a creek channel bend. What's some of the stuff that you and your dad all look for? You don't have to give me the juice.
I mean, obviously everybody, even some of y'all have already commented on it, jig guys. I mean, yeah, we're always going to have that reputation. My grandfather, he's out there stroking a jig when everybody else was up fishing the bank. But we really like to look for brush, just us personally. You know, we might not hit that 30, 40 fish school, but when you hit that brush pile, it could have 6 or 7 pounder. So, you know, we're looking more quality than quantity.
Right.
That's just how we fish. I mean, that's how we like to fish, and that's what we do.
Right. So I love fishing brush piles too. And Bill knows that. My fishing partner loves fishing brush, and so sometimes we get to visit each other on the lake. But for the most part, you know, we don't crowd each other, and that's something I want to talk about real quick. I'm not trying to get on a rant, but where fishing's really changed is 15 years ago, if me and Jeff seen you and your dad out on ledge, we might wave and we'll just go on.
Yeah.
Now it's join the party, and part of me, I feel for Randy and all that. You know, I don't like fishing like that, and that's all I'm going to say about that subject. But man, fishing's changed. And now I feel like technology's so good, YouTube and stuff like we're doing, people can get really advanced. But let me answer some questions I asked Bill. Crankbait line, Bill says he doesn't use a crankbait.
No, that's a lie. I throw mine on 12-pound test.
I usually use 10. Swim baits, at least 17. 20.
I throw 20. I mean, I'm with those big swim baits, if I hook a big sucker, I want to make sure I don't break my line. I mean, you know, throwing those swim baits, it could be 7-8 pounder.
That's right.
So I throw 20. I'm sure a lot of guys throw smaller than that, but I just have a lot more confidence with that 20.
I think a lot depends on how big the bait is and what style. If it's like a Bass Tricks, like a 6-inch, man, I've thrown like 15-pound test. But if you're throwing an Osprey, you're going to have at least 20. Jesse McNutt, please explain finding the angles to line up on. Well, I'm gonna let Bill answer that.
I mean, you don't have to have those angles as much anymore now because you have a waypoint to look at, obviously. But back in the day, you know, when you found the sweet spot of the ledge, you might fish 3 days to find that one place where you had it for 6 months.
Right.
But I mean, when you knew, because I still remember there used to be a place down around Parrish that me and Dad had, and it was the third camper. When you got to the third camper up on the bank, you were fixing to crackle.
Right.
And now it's not like that. It's, hey, I'm at waypoint 411, you know. So angles, I mean, yeah, you're still trying to fish the right angles to hit that school. But, I mean, if you're sitting on the juice waypoint, you know where those fish are now.
Right. And you know what? As many people as want waypoints and stuff like that, I'm one of those guys, I just cannot catch another guy's fish. If you give me something to fish, I usually don't catch them. I have got to stumble upon it or something like that because
Dad said that for years. It's hard to catch other people's fish. I mean, I've seen it. Dad will say, hey, go fish waypoint, whatever, and I get there, maybe I'm just worse than Dad, but I can't catch those fish. I've got to find them myself, and that might be just because of the lineups and stuff. They might be different, but that's what I've found. One
thing I like about offshore fishing, and it is getting tougher over the last few years, but one thing I've always liked about it is when you sit behind that depth finder or map study is a big one. I'll advise study a map before you even jump in the boat. You can cut down on the lake so much, but it's very rewarding. It's different than going down a bank and throwing a crankbait and stuff like that and just lucking in at 5 or 6 fish down a bank. When you put in the work and put in some time, you find that mega school, and it could be cast after cast or just be 7 or 8 casts of giants. There's something about that you don't get from any other fishing. It's instant reward. And if you find the right spots or places where bass are coming and going, you got fish heading in shallow, you got fish coming out deep. And now you just got to find a spot where those fish have transitioned from out the bank and coming out onto the main lake. Ron Champion says current will dictate angles. That's a very good point.
Current, I mean, the fish are going to bite with more current. I mean, that's they get closer to bottom 1, 2. They're closer together because they've got the bait where they want it. I mean, that current, I mean, you can tell weights. Like Lambert, when he cracked them, they were pulling 60,000. First time they'd pull 60,000 on a tournament, and he just crushes them. So, it makes a big difference.
And a lot of times, most of the time, I'm going to, throw down current and bring it up. It's a natural place, but people, I'll show them something. They'll say, "Well, why are you fishing that spot?" Because that's the opposite way. But you got to realize it may be making a high point out there or something that changes the direction of that current, and those fish get behind it. Stuff I like to look for if you're very new to offshore fishing. Get a map. Look for road beds, whether it's in the back of the bays, on the main lake. Road beds are great transition areas. So let's talk about baits a little bit. Back in the day, the first thing I ever threw on a ledge to find bass, crankbait. So this is a 10XD. This is the deepest diving son of a gun out right now from Strike King. Maybe not the deepest overall, but this is a 10XD. Main river bait. And then the one that's probably more money is the 6XD. So this is baits I'm going to fish in that 18 to 24 foot range. But I always like to start with a crankbait. They bite crankbaits really good when there's a lot of current. Another bait that's always good when they're moving current, swim bait. This is the Scottsboro swim bait. Bill, what's your favorite 5-6 inch swim bait?
Mine is probably the Zoom Swimmer.
Zoom Swimmer, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah. I've probably caught more big bass on that Zoom Swimmer than any other swim bait that I've thrown, but I have more confidence in it. I throw it a lot. So
when would you throw a swim bait as opposed to, you know, a crankbait or something like that?
that's a good question.
It is a good question.
I mean, I just kind of go with the feel. I don't have very much confidence in a crankbait, and everybody's going to be like, that's crazy, it's Kentucky Lake, everybody hammers them on a crankbait. Well, whenever I was young growing up, when I threw it, I couldn't land them on it. So my confidence just never grew. Well, as I got older, I started throwing a swim bait. It was all the, you know, I'm a little bit younger, and it was all the rage. Hey, pick up a swim bait, you know, you can catch them. And so for me, it's a confidence thing. I throw a swim bait a whole lot more than a crankbait just because confidence, period.
Right.
So
now I know what you're really confident in. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about jig fishing. So,
all right.
Bill and his father and grandfather famous for the jig fishing.
I'm not, so don't include me. But we can't get Dad on the show, so
yeah, I wish you would get on here. Let's talk about stroking a jig.
All right, so this is a stroking jig. I'm not real good with the camera, but that's a stroking jig.
I'm gonna take it out of the package.
All right, I'll take it out of the package. I'm new to all this Baitman stuff.
So you're gonna have to tell them what
Baitman.
stroking a jig is.
All right, so basically, so it's not a football, wherever the camera is. No
Marky
football
style.
So basically, here's how it's going to sit when it's on bottom, like this, and then you're stroking it. So a lot of people ask, you know, how do you stroke it? Well, it's got to fall on slack line, number one. That's the biggest problem I ever see. Anybody who's fishing a jig, they'll throw it out there and they'll just tight line it to the bottom. That's not going to make that jig have any kind of action. You've got to let it fall on a slack line. So when it hits bottom, you click your bail and just jerk it, because I'd say 50% of the time they've got it when it hit that very first time that you go to stroke it. But if they're not on there, basically stroking, I'm literally just popping my rod up in the air like I was jerking. It's not as hard as like an actual hook set, but it's just enough to get that bait up and down. And I mean, for me, I mean, it like I've said before, it's a confidence thing.
Right.
I know what kind of action to make with that jerk, that it's not jerky, but it's smooth, and you know, I can do it all day long. And if they're eating it, I will do it all day long. I mean,
so I'm going to tell you all about this jig. What makes this thing special, number one, is the way it sits. This hook is, a lot of guys look at it and go, that's a cheap hook, but this O'Shaughnessy style bend hook, it basically hooks the fish for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good hook.
Yeah, this is the Dirty Jigs, Luke Clausen casting jig. Luke's making a lot of money over a technique that you kind of invented.
Yeah, no, I didn't invent it. We didn't invent it. We just like to do it. We've got confidence.
Who invented the jig stroking?
I don't know. I've been told Granddad was doing it when everybody else was fishing the bank in the 70s.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure somebody was doing it.
I've always basically heard it was your granddad and Tom Snow were really the fathers of that deal. But now let's talk. So this one's got a keeper, but this what was interesting was talking about on slack line they eat it. What kind of rod reel gear ratio when you're hopping this jig, and it's not moving very far left or right. It's basically going straight up and then falling straight down.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that you fish it all the way back to the boat. That's another thing that everybody, you know, they're out there on top of the ledge and they're like, oh, they're not eating it, I'm reeling it in. Well, a lot of the times, you know, you come off that ledge and that's when they're going to eat it. They're sitting down at the bottom of it. We catch a whole lot of fish, and Dad calls it on the side. If you're not a ledge fisherman, you probably don't really understand what that means, but and then that'll tell you a lot, because you catch one on the side, well, then you can fish every drop that way, and you're catching everything off the side where everybody else might have just fished that spot on top. So for us, it's just another way to get down there. But I throw a 7-1 gear ratio lose, and then I put it on a Dobbins. It's a 7.3, and it's a 7.46.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
stiff
as
rod.
long as it's stiff, you're going to be fine.
So why would you want a stiff rod for that as opposed to like a football jig where you're dragging it and it's got a little bit of tip? Contact.
So you're obviously, with a jig, you're going to lose contact with your bait a lot, and that's another thing. If you're letting it fall on that slack line and you go up there to stroke it and it's gone, reel as fast as you can and set the hook, because he's got it. I mean, you're always going to have contact with it as soon as you pick it up. So if you go to jerk it and it's not there, jerk, because he's got it. And that's another reason a lot of people, they'll think, oh, you know, I just lost contact with it, and then they go to pick it up and fish has already felt them and they're gone. So
So let's talk about football jig now. When are you going to use?
Okay.
So he's already picked him out. You got him a little dirty jig, football jig, and he definitely buys these from me. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And Bill's a packer crawl man. He keeps it really simple. Black and blue packer crawl.
On the dragon jig. Yeah.
On a dragon jig. When are you going to say, I'm going to drag this football jig versus stroking that thing?
So we use dragon jig when it's really tough, like we were talking about earlier. We know, they're talking about 35 current, which is pretty low, but it happens. And it's just a grind, and you can't get one stroking. I'll pick up a football jig, and it's literally like watching paint dry. You throw it out there, and you kind of look around and see what's going on with the birds, and you just kind of drag it. But they eat it, and big ones eat it. But I mean, there's really nothing to the dragon. You just kind of got to try to keep a really good pace of just drag, and then really line up and drag. But I mean, it's the same way. As soon as you feel just anything that feels different, jerk. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It doesn't cost anything to jerk.
Hook sets are free.
If you look like you're swatting flies, nobody's going to talk about it when you catch a 7 or 8 pounder. I mean, I'd much rather swing and miss than swing on something and then like, oh, well, I didn't jerk and he's going. So that's the biggest thing.
Well, I think that's going to cover the jigs. I've done so many jig shows. I'm glad he was on here to explain. But a lot of the stuff we're talking about in the upcoming weeks, I'm going to have dedicated shows. Swim baits, big crank baits. Call my boy Ben Parker. We'll talk about spoons again. Speaking of spoons, this bait right here really has taken ledge fishing by storm in the last 4 years. And this is the Ben Parker 8-inch Magnum spoon.
$10,000 spoon.
$10,000 spoon. Who won $10,000 on that?
Dad. Well, I got half of it, but Dad actually caught the fish. But
yeah. So just because they're jig fishermen doesn't mean they won't throw this big old hubcap spoon. And man, if you think about it, this bait's won a lot of money on this lake.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to win money. I mean, it looks good. You guys, I mean, y'all all know about it from when Randy and Lambert, back in 13 or whatever. But I can tell you, if you get a school fired and you're trying to catch the biggest one in the school, throw that in there. I mean, Dad finished third in All-American 15 here, and he literally had like 14 pounds and was catching them every cast on a jig, and he just picked that thing up and went to 24 in 10 casts. And he said, I had literally been catching them every single cast, 3 pounders, and he said I picked that up and caught a 6 and 2 5s, and it's going to catch the biggest fish there.
Right, and I think why that bait didn't shine in the last 2 weeks, the fish just haven't been out there yet.
They're not out there, and the ones that are out there, I'm not sure are ready for that big a bait. I mean, the scrounger's big, but it's not like that. I mean, it's totally different action, and I'm gonna say 2 or 3 weeks that thing's gonna be the juice.
It is. I love throwing it. And when I talk about baits, I personally don't throw a jig first on the ledge. I go with a crankbait or swim bait. But if you just want to go out there and catch the biggest son of a gun, you just pull that spoon. If you're not on your place with a bite, you pull that big spoon up, you will catch the biggest one in the school. That's been proven many times. Clint Davis will tell you that. Ben will tell you. His dad. That's all you need to know.
Haynes.
Randy Haynes.
Probably Lambert.
I think he will. I don't think he'll be throwing Ben's spoon, but he definitely throws one.
A spoon, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some other stuff.
There you go. Go to that since we've been talking about big bait.
So Bill wants me to talk about this bait right here. This is a robo worm. And this little joker right here, if you're graphing and you see fish and you want to know, is that really a bass? Drop the robo on them. Because if they're bass, more than likely, 90% of the time, they'll bite this as soon as you drop it on their head. Now, when you drop shot, because you don't own a spinning rod. You just got one.
I just got one for my birthday, yeah.
That makes me feel good because I just now own a spinning rod.
Yeah.
I said I gotta get my stuff together when I seen Bill buy one, but just nothing special. All you gotta do, as long as it says Aaron's Magic in there or Morning Dawn, you can catch them on this purple worm. That's Morning Dawn red. They're nothing special, but one trick I like to do is I use like 15-pound braid and run that fluorocarbon leader. Thad wants to know, what weight do you use on a stroking jig?
I use 9/16.
9/16. That's a heavy half, basically. Always 9/16.
Yep.
Now on that trailer, do you use anything special?
Oh yeah, I just do that.
The Salty Pro Chunk.
Yep.
Very.
And I just hook it. Where'd that bait go?
It's right there. It's right in here.
Oh, yeah. But everybody thinks we do all this magical stuff. And you just hook it. Just make sure it's straight.
So that is
like that.
So that is the Kentucky Lake stroking jig.
That's it.
And it really doesn't. It's not like a rage bug or rage crawl with crazy action. It just falls.
Yep. Like I said, most important thing, slack line.
Slack line.
Yep.
I'm no master at it. I've done it. And Bill's right. If you feel something, it just don't feel right, there's one on there.
Yeah.
Now, you can't go throw them in brush piles and stroke a jig. You kind of have to do that around it. But
yeah, you got to kind of, I mean, for us, when we get in a brush pile, it's all about staying in it.
Right.
As long as you can. I mean, I've caught some seesawing it in a brush pile freaking 15 times. But, I mean, you can't really stroke it because you're going to catch the brush pile. But if you can just kind of seesaw it, the longer you can do that, it's kind of like flipping.
Mm-hmm.
You flip in there and you seesaw it. I mean, if you can just keep it in there forever, I mean, you're going to catch them.
What's your favorite color? Black and blue?
What color is that?
That's green pumpkin purple.
That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Green pumpkin purple is his favorite color.
I like black and blue if the water is murky, and as y'all can see, if you're from here, the north end of Kentucky Lake is no longer murky, so I actually have kind of abandoned the black and blue. I just picked that one up because it was a football head jig. But if you're in dirtier water, you know, you could probably get away with it at New Johnsonville or something. Mm-hmm. But as clear as water is up here, I don't like it.
I just like old Baxter's bug, green pumpkin with some chartreuse.
I don't even know that I've ever thrown one. Maybe that's why I'm not catching.
He's so good he doesn't have. He's so good he doesn't have to have crazy colors like me. But yeah. So my deal is watercolor, and long story short, my fishing partner has convinced me if it's overcast and it's a dark day, darker black and blue. If it's bright sunny, get those greens, those clearer colors. Pete says, any tips on fishing Kentucky Lake on a rainy day? That's the best days. Sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That's my
Those
crank.
are the best days.
That's my crankbait, my swim bait day.
Something moving, because they're not up. You know, when it's sunny, they want to get attached to some kind of structure. They want to hide their eyes. They want to get behind something. When it's rainy, I mean, they're going to be out roaming on those flats or up on top of a ledge or whatever. They're going to be. But those are the days that people catch 30.
Right.
I mean, you saw the weights from that. Whatever tournament it was, they had 29 in. It was like a rainy, cloudy, nasty day.
Remember that the first Hubie's tournament?
Yeah.
Your dad and Grandpa led the first day, and me and Jeff Deefy were second. And that was one of the roughest son of a guns I've ever been on this lake. Didn't know if we'd even make it to our spot. And dude, my hands were raw at noon from the 4 to 5 pound fish we caught. It was, you could not get them off a crankbait. And obviously, I mean, they had some big smallmouth too.
They were catching them on a jig.
They were catching them on a jig. He just spilled his stuff.
I did.
Unfortunately,
actually, they said that they should have won that tournament. Like he said, it was rough, and Granddad was, I think, 82 or 83, and he had trouble getting the net, but it's part of it. That was the last tournament I think he ever fished.
It was, and I still took my paddling from him. I think we finished like 4th, but I hope that when I'm that age, I can still fish like that.
Yeah, me too.
Let's talk back more about brush piles. This is probably, I don't know, there's been a lot of money went on this worm right here, and I've talked about it, and Bill knows.
Brick cone special.
The brick cone special.
He won more money on that thing.
This is a Lucky Strike original ringer. Britt has won a lot of money off this. Marizo, you can watch the video on Bassmaster. Big Mama caught on this worm right here. Craig Hipsher. So Craig, and I'm glad Craig don't watch Facebook much, but Craig strokes this worm like he would do a jig.
Yep.
And
that's how I fish it.
Yeah. Now I'll drag this thing, but I like finding a brush pile and throwing it right in the middle, and do like Bill says. You're just seesawing. If you feel it get tension, let it fall to the bottom. Keep doing that. And a lot of times you'll just be sitting it there and boom.
Yep.
But the longevity of this worm, that's why I got a couple hundred of them at all times. It's about one fish and you're done. But there's something about this little worm on Kentucky Lake. They just cannot stand this. One of the best brush pile worms ever made.
Sure.
What else we got over there you want to talk about?
Well, they got.
You want to talk about that big bull worm?
This big sucker here, because I mean that's been the new rage.
So the new rage is mega-sized worms. Standard Texas rig on that. I use like, how heavy weight you use? In a brush pile, like 3/8 of it, 3/8 or half.
I use a half on a 5/0 hook. That's what I use it. I don't know. You might use something.
I'm out of 5/0, so
I know, but I was just telling you I use a 5/0. But
yeah, 5/0 owner hook, and the deal is I don't use the EWG, so I use this, all-purpose 5/0, which we're out of. I gotta get more, but whatever your favorite.
Put it on a 4/0.
Yeah, that ringworm's so soft, but the new rage is this stuff right here. This is a Strike King. This is the 10-inch bullworm. This is a giant freaking worm right here. That's the only way I can describe that. But what guys do is they use these big Magnum shaky heads, which is this right here, and this was made specifically for these 10-inch bullworms by Strike King. And this is a 3/4 ounce head with a 7/0 hook, and all you got to do is take this little centering spring and line it up with the worm. And this has gotten really popular, like
very popular. It's kind of like the drop shot, except you catch bigger ones on it.
Yes, and
if you know they're there and you can't get on the bite, rig that baby up.
Oh yeah. And so now you got this big 7/0 hook, which most companies didn't make anything this big. So that's a 10-inch bullworm on this Strike King structure head. They actually call it the Tour Grade Mag Jig Head. This is a Sam Lashley, David Genevco, Brant Anderson deal. They know all about this.
You just drag it.
And you just drag it. Use 7/6 medium heavy rod, whatever. You're gonna have to beef up your tackle to throw some stuff like this. But they make an 8-inch bullworm as well. It's got this little tail, and I don't see if you'll see that it makes the tail kind of stand up. I'll be honest, I don't think half these worms that stand up really do. I can throw them in pulls, but once you start moving them, they lay on their side anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. Uh-oh. I grabbed the phone. Bill, talk about something.
Well, I don't know. Any of you guys got any questions? I'm not the bait man because I throw about 3 of these baits, but if y'all got questions, I can try to answer them. Baxter's trying to sell some stuff, so. We pretty much talked about everything. What size line? I used to throw 17, but like I said, now that the water's gotten so clear, I've switched to 14. So I like throwing it a 14-pound test. Colored chunk, green pumpkin chunk is the color that I throw 95% of the time. Sean Penn in the 90s, and he showed me how to stroke a jig. Sean Penn is my father-in-law, so we try to keep it in the family. Sorry, let me slide you back in here.
That didn't sound good because this is Kentucky.
Well, whatever.
Sean's a good dude. Sean was my hero when I was growing up. I wanted to be just like him, so awesome. But instead, I'm selling baits instead of making money working on HVAC stuff. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the Asian carp on Kentucky Lake?
I mean, they're a problem. Everybody knows that they're a problem. There's only so much water, and you guys know how much. I mean, they wreak havoc on everything. It's a big problem. It's one that they need to get control of. But honestly, I don't know that they even have a clue what to do with them.
I mean, I think it's a biomass issue. There's so many people. I always do this theory. Me and Little Bill can sit right in this spot, and you can put 500 people in the store. We're not going to move, but it's going to get harder for us to move around. Or we're going to get a place that we'll stay here in the store, but we're going to get something that's easier for us to get to. And I think that's really what happens. These carp have taken over a lot of the same habitat and places these bass like. Because those carp, from what I know about them, bow fishing, they like to be in current breaks. They don't like to sit in the current all the time. Well, guess where bass are sitting in the summer? Ledges, drops, creek channels, current breaks. And
I do think this is totally my theory, so I mean I could be wrong, but I do think they're messing with the spawn.
Right.
I mean, you can tell we're missing 2, 3, maybe even 4 years of fish I mean, you can see the weights are up because they're all those fish that were here, you know, when everybody was stroking 2 or 3 pounders.
Mm-hmm.
Those have all grown up to be 4s and 5s.
Right.
But now that 2 or 3 pound class fish is not here. And I mean, I kind of attribute that to the carp. Maybe it's wrong, but I mean, it's something that made those fish disappear, that 2 to 3 pound class.
We've got,
so,
and anybody that's been fishing on lake, it's hard to argue. There's just not a ton of 14 to 16.5 inch bass. That's your just under a keeper to 2.5 pound size. Now, I know FLW come here and there's lots of 12, 13 pound sacks, but you know, there should have been 50 bags of 15 to 18 pounds with those 3.5 pound fish. And, you know, that's you're missing basically 2 to 3 years of fish, and bad spawns, dare I say it, fishing pressure, mainly from tournaments. And hey, I'm guilty of it. I know fishing a tournament that every fish I release may not make it. I know Bill fizzes fish. We use G-juice. We do everything we can, but
when you're running that distance, I mean, you know, all the tournaments, 90% of them are in this end of the lake. Well, 90% of your competitors are running back to Paris, New Johnsonville. Right. So when it's 90 degrees and you just caught one at 8 o'clock and it's sitting in there for however long, and then you get the pleasure boats out, you're going to beat them fish up. And you're not going to see a direct thing of it. You're not going to see bass laying everywhere, but those fish are going to the bottom and they're dying, and you're never seeing it. So that's a problem, but I mean, you know, that's just part of the game. That's been happening forever, I guess.
Right, and I think so. What's happened now, you know, that has been going on for a long time, but you add just the normal fishing pressure. I mean, I know someone was out there fishing 2 days ago on a Tuesday during the day and said it was like a tournament was out there. Guys are out there fishing.
Nobody works.
Nobody works, man. I sell all these baits. I know why, because nobody's working.
That's right.
But the things have really changed out here. The ledge fishing, man, used to, man, all I need is a crankbait, a jig, and a big worm. And now, I mean, we're throwing stuff like this.
Or like this. And everything
or
in
like
between.
that. Yeah. Bill made a comment. I said, you got your nickel rig rod? He says, if I have to throw that stuff, I'm just not going to do it. I'll quit.
Get beat.
Yeah.
I won't quit. I mean, I love fishing too much. I won't quit. But, you know, in a tournament, if it takes me, I hate throwing a spinning rod with a drop shot on it. I mean, it'll catch them. But if I have to pick up something, you know, like that turd or that they all fish, I'll just get beat.
Now, the turd catches.
I know it does, but I'll get beat. I ain't going to throw that thing out there.
Now, I'll tell you, my second favorite worm, man, I've caught a lot of big ones on this sucker right here. And little Bill knows, this is the Zoom Mag Trick Worm. So if you don't want to go to that bull worm, rig this sucker right here on that 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce shaky head. So this is a new color. Pretty exclusive to TackleFreaks. This is Plum Crazy. Everybody likes plum, and I do too, but this Plum Crazy's got that copper flake in it. This one's pretty sick. Lots of big bags have been caught on this. I know Bolton throws this. I throw it a lot. But one thing about this worm, you can throw it on a shaky head. I like to stroke it on a Texas rig because they kind of spiral down. It's really good out deep on a wacky rig or nickel rig. Dude, they like it. If it ain't plum on Kentucky Lake, in a worm, I don't care what plum apple, Plum Crazy, just plum. That's the one you got to have. If you can only find one color, I don't care what kind of worm it is.
Well, that's why I like throwing that jig that's got that little bit of purple in it. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
Like I said, maybe it's a confidence thing, but for me, I don't know. They like it here for some reason.
Yeah, I'm a purple guy. It's got to be. I've got to have some kind of purple in there, and I don't know if it's a Kentucky Lake thing or confidence thing. I'll throw a purple spoon if they make one. Randy Walker, I heard you mention kayaking early on in the program. Where's the best yak area on Kentucky Lake or in the area for fishing? The best kayak area on Kentucky Lake. Unfortunately, when it gets hot, your best fishing's out deep. But if you don't know about ledge fishing, just start fishing points.
What's up, Kelly?
Kelly Reedheimer, my buddy. I'm sure Kelly's working hard tonight.
Big spinnerbait. Yeah, big spinnerbait, Sean Penn. I mean, you just need to get him on here somehow.
If I would love to get Sean on here. Do you think we can pull that off?
Yeah, I think so. If you asked him nicely.
I would ask him nicely.
Yeah, big spinnerbait on the ledges. I mean, it catches them. It kind of is an afterthought now because of swim baits and crankbaits and big spoons. But yeah, I mean, You throw it out there and slow roll it, you're liable to get your arm broke.
Basically, the only two you needed was the Oldham's cantaloupe spinnerbait, and then the Stanley wedge.
Yeah, the Stanley was a really good spinner.
But I'm not going to explain all that. I'll let Sean do that. He is the man
you just
at that.
need to get Sean out here. I'm surprised he's not watching. He must be watching Bryson play soccer or something.
I know.
But Sean is absolute. I've been in the boat with a bunch of people, and he is the absolute best with a spinnerbait that I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how he got so good with it. He is just an absolute machine. If he's throwing a spinnerbait ahead of you, you better throw something else behind him, because he's like a magnet with that thing. So.
All right. Anything anybody else want to talk about?
Somebody asked something up here.
Somebody asked something.
They were asking a bunch of stuff whenever you were gone, because I asked them to ask questions because I'm not the bait man.
What conditions would you throw a spinnerbait on the ledges? Early morning.
Yeah.
Those overcast days.
Yeah. I don't know. Sean cracked them suckers on sunny days too. Something about those blades.
Right.
But
I've always liked it on those nasty days or early in the morning. Back in the day, when we had a lot of threadfin shad in the lake, and you rolled up on a spot, on the X15, you couldn't find a bass. But what you could find is bait fish. And if you rolled up on a ledge or a creek channel turn, anything like that, and those bait was stacked on it, that's when that spinnerbait really, really shines.
Or like a shad spawn. Shad spawn. If a shad spawn's going on, spinnerbait's good.
When do the first fish start leaving ledges in the fall?
Oh, good Lord. Last year, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I understand you guys probably think this kid's like 27, so he probably doesn't know what he's talking about. But I've been fishing this lake since I was 3 years old. I won my first tournament when I was like 6. But last year, it was the exact same day. Them fish left the ledges and they were gone. And it was July 7th.
Right.
And they were gone. Like, you weren't going to catch one on the ledge. And they were gone for the entire rest of the year.
It was like January until you started catching them out there.
Yeah.
And so ledge fishing in the winter is way different in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to get that confused.
I don't throw a jig.
Yes, I got some S waivers in. Kenneth would just come in today. We're going to update the website. Got that light trout in as well. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? I will say this on ledge fishing, it takes practice. You can watch videos, you can watch all this stuff, but you're going to have to get out there.
Costa predictions
from Rick Shannon, my buddy Rick.
Man, that's a good question. I don't know. Is Haynes and Lambert fishing?
I think
because it'll be a totally different weight if they're not.
Lambert says he's coming to fish.
Lambert is going to fish. Okay, but they won't be on the Jerky J as good then.
If this guy comes into play and they start eating these big crankbaits, I think the weights would go way up. So
I'm going to say 23 a day to win.
So that's 3 days, so that's 69 pounds.
Ooh, I don't know, maybe not that much. 67 for 3 days.
I'll say 74.
Oh my gosh.
Because the guy who leads going to crack them one day. I mean like a 28, 29 pound bag.
Yeah, but you got to realize they're going to get hammered in between now and then. And it's out of Little River.
Yeah, it is out of Little River. I'm actually going to say it's one on Barkley.
No.
Yes.
No.
Because the guy...
No.
They're going to catch more in Kentucky, but they're going to weigh more dead fish in. And the guy that can catch 21 pounds or better on Barkley could win because he won't kill his fish.
Don't listen to Baxter. That's wrong. It'll be one on Kentucky Lake.
I'm just saying Barkley so everybody will go over there.
Eric Sanders come in there. No, it'll be one on Kentucky. No way on Barkley.
Hey, I'm telling you, I know some people that are cracking some big ones over there. But the deal is, can you be consistent? I think you can catch a 20 to 25 pound bag on Barkley.
One day.
Yeah.
And then next day you catch 0. That's the craziest lake.
Lambert just did his interview on Ike Live. Worth going back and watching. Man,
he showed you up for Ike.
Man, Lambert showed me up for Ike Live. Good thing he called me yesterday. Randy Flowers. Hey, who is Randy Flowers?
I don't have a clue.
Is that you?
No, heck no.
I want to know who Randy Flowers is. Everyone's like, it's you, Baxter. Dude, I'm on here and the guy's commenting. So, Philip Arrington will win it on Barkley. I don't think he's fishing that.
Maybe we should do a live right before Kentucky Lake for the Costa.
We should. We should just do it live at the Costa. I won't be here.
Where will you be?
I'm going to Florida to work with Iowa for a few days.
Big timer.
I'm big timing.
I might
got new products.
Do a Kentucky Lake Live prediction show.
I think we should give away something. If somebody can predict the exact weight, we'll give it away. We'll do a prediction show. Prediction on a bait that wins the USA Big Bass Tournament, north or south. I'm going to say it's going to be a swim bait or a spoon.
Can I comment? I'm in that.
Yeah, you can comment.
A jig.
A jig? Bill says
We're
a jig.
alternate years, so we won it. The first year didn't win. Won it, didn't win, so it's our year again.
When is that?
The day after the All-American. 3rd.
Man,
June 3rd.
DP don't want to go fish tournaments until the Costa. I'm going to be so disappointed if he bombs. I'm putting him on a spot. He better be in the top 10 because we've been skipping Tuesday night tournaments and buddy tournaments because he wants to save him fish. Please get Randy Flowers on the show. It'll break the internet.
Who is Randy Flowers?
I don't even know. I don't really know who Randy Flowers is. Like,
oh, he wants a prediction on north or south. It'll be one south. South of Blood River.
I'm going to say it'd be one north of the 68 bridge.
That's bold.
Very bold. Now, it may not be very far north of the bridge, but it could be one on the same spot the FLW Tour event. But, man, that stuff's going to be done. It's already been hammered.
Is ICAST open to the public?
No, ICAST is kind of closed. It's for vendors and dealers and stuff like that, and media. It's a pretty cool deal.
Kyle says he agrees with you on the north end.
Yeah, Kyle and his brother are hammers.
Oh, I know.
29 pounds in the BFL.
That's cracking them.
Still hadn't
I've
told me
never
what
met
bait
them,
he used.
but they cracked them. So
You know, I never see them out there fishing.
I don't see anybody.
I do
fishing,
know
so.
that Kyle and his brother put in a lot of work. So when they come down here, they don't hang out in the tackle shop. They're on the lake. And I'll just be honest, I got a lot of respect for a guy that come drive down here and spend 10 hours from daylight to dusk. And you never run into them on tournament day. You've never heard bad words about them, but they just weigh them in. That's all you need to do.
Time on the water.
On the water.
Can't replace it.
Well, I want
to give something away right now, or we done?
I think we're about done.
All right.
It's getting dark. I'm going to go get my hair cut. So look for a power mullet tomorrow.
And I don't have anything to plug. I'm not good enough to be sponsored. But
what about Vex's Boats?
Vex's
I'm putting him on the spot.
Man, I own a Ranger and I love it. But I also love Keith Afrin. He's one of the owners of Vex's, and that's my guy. It'll be a good boat. I mean, you know, they were with Ranger forever, and
they need to hook me up with an aluminum boat. I need to go.
Those aluminum boats are sick.
That's all I want.
They're nice.
I need something to come fish Lake X and Schroeder Lake and just fish in the bays and make videos. That's all I want to do.
Is the Carolina rig making a comeback? It catches.
I don't think
ones.
it's ever went away.
No, me either. I mean, it catches big bass. You just don't hear about it because it's not, you know, it's not the scrounger and it's not cool to throw. But it catches them. I mean, it has for years.
I've always called it the quitting rig because if I'm throwing it, I feel like quitting.
Do you sell scissors? I think they're talking about your hair.
No, I don't sell scissors. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. Check out TackleFreaks.com for all this new stuff I showed off. I'm going to be uploading more videos to YouTube. I got a lot of stuff on my plate that I got to get done. If you heard me, I got to go out meet with Dival Rods and Reels here in 2 weeks. It's going to be awesome. Going to check out new product. They're going to take me to a giant bass lake down there, so I'm really excited about that.
Too big time.
I'm trying not to be big time. I'm trying to be humble, just a redneck with a cell phone. And then it's ICAST time, and I get to go find all the latest, greatest, newest baits. And oh yeah, if you're like these old school Mega Bass hats, I'm throwing them on tomorrow.
SB 125.
Gotta get them shower
Those
balls.
are good.
Gotta get those.
They catch jaints.
They do catch jaints. When's the All-American next week?
All-American starts Thursday. I mean, I got to give a shout out to my dad. I hope he wins it, but there's some really good fishermen in it. Brent Anderson's in it. Daniel Wagner.
Yeah.
Dude's a hammer. He's in it. So.
And then a guy from LBL, Justin Berger, Murray State guy, kid. He qualified. Good dude.
Good luck to them all, but I hope Dad wins it. I'm not gonna lie. He's been to 8. I think that's right up there with the most ever. And
I would like to see him win it.
Man, me too. Then he can just say, you know,
No offense to Brent, because he
Yeah,
Brent qualifies like every year.
Brent's one of my good buddies too. I mean, if he wanted, it'd be all right. But
well, guys, we're signing off. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, share the video. Check out TackleFreaks.com in the morning. I'll ship you some baits.
see ya.